Hello, friends. It's the Carnivore Rabbi here, as always, to meet, pray, and love. I hope you are doing well. I am actually recovering from a little surgery. I had an appendectomy. If you saw my video from, must have been about 6 weeks ago now when I was in the hospital because my appendix burst, and thankfully I didn't have to get it removed then. I took an antibiotic, and they were able to do laparoscopic surgery just this last week on Friday, and it was fine. I'm healing though, so I don't have the same kind of energy level, and also a little bit of loss of appetite, which is unusual for me. I usually eat a huge meal in the middle of the day, usually my OMAD, one meal a day. Now I'm been just the last 2 days since coming home. It was just an hour surgery and then came home an hour later. But I've been eating smaller meals. I anticipate that'll last for about a week. But I think being a carnivore makes the healing process so much faster. And that's one of the benefits of being a carnivore. We heal faster. But there are many common benefits that we know about. Improved mental clarity, less brain fog, more energy, obviously weight loss for a lot of people. But what about some of the rarer benefits? Things we hear about and perhaps one or two people we know talk about, but perhaps we haven't experienced, or maybe we have experienced some of these. But these benefits are truly sometimes remarkable, and I think they happen to more people than we know about. So today I want to look at a few of them. Again, obviously, I'm not a doctor, and this is not medical advice. These are stories from my own life and from people that I've talked to and read about that I think might shed some more light on why this way of eating works so well. The first, more unusual benefit is better eyesight. Yes, better eyesight. The eyes require lots of different nutrients in order to function well. And those include vitamin A, which is really critical, and omega-3 fatty acids. Lutein also. Where do we find a lot of these minerals and nutrients? Meat. Vitamin A especially is found in very highly in liver. Liver is actually, just a pause on this, I want to forget about the eyes for a second. I've actually been eating more liver since I came home from the hospital, and I ate more liver about 6 weeks ago. Liver has so many nutrients in it that I have noticed if I'm recovering from something, if my immune system might be weakened, I have a desire for liver. It's quite interesting. And then it goes away. Then I don't feel like I have a taste for it. But when my body needs that energy, liver somehow desires liver. I remember when I first became a carnivore, I had a great desire for liver. It probably lasted, I'm trying to think back, maybe about 3 weeks. Then I wasn't hungry for liver anymore. Then when I got the initial burst appendix 6 weeks ago, when I got back from the hospital, I wanted liver. I found a great place in the city of Chicago, about an hour drive from here, but they had great fresh liver. And I cook it very rare, and I've been eating it the last couple of days as well. It's dangerous to eat too much liver because it's got high vitamin A content, and it does have some carbs in it. Liver has, I think, from what I understand, more carbs than almost any other part of the cow. All meat has a tiny bit of carbs in it, by the way, but liver tends to have more. So you can't eat too much of it, but I let my body guide me. And the liver is extremely powerful. And I think one of the reasons it can very much help with eyesight, or being a carnivore helps with eyesight, is the amount of vitamin A that we often find in meat, and that's especially true in liver. So what's the next benefit? Besides better eyesight, what else do people get when they become carnivore? A second benefit that is quite frequent is that people become more extroverted. This is interesting, isn't it? Because carnivore diet sometimes leads us to abandon certain social norms. We don't go out to dinner as much with people. We don't go out to drinks if that was something that we tended to do. We don't really eat as much as parties or drink as much at parties. And yet, I have found, and I think this is true for a lot of people, that you just become more gregarious. I think maybe it's an improved confidence. Maybe we just feel better and we feel more confident in how our body looks or about how our mind is feeling. Perhaps we're getting less energy drained from all those toxins in vegetables. But whatever it is, I have tended to notice, and obviously there are many stories about this, that people are just more outgoing. They feel more connected. They feel an enhanced desire for community as a carnivore. And carnivores tend to attract people that are a little bit more non-conforming. So these are people that are independent-minded. So they're not followers. We're not people that just always are looking to be part of something. But the greater confidence that comes with health and clarity can often lead people to take more risks, to start a conversation when they may not have felt like starting a conversation. And what a wonderful benefit that is. Third benefit that is a little more rare, but this one actually happened with me, is allergies and asthma clearing up. I'm not sure why, but my best guess is that this has to do with inflammation. That when we stop eating vegetables, we stop inflaming our respiratory tract. And that leads us to just sniffle less, to have less problems breathing. There was a study that was done at the University of Bonn in Germany, and it found that mice who were switched to a ketogenic diet showed significantly reduced inflammation in the respiratory tract. And this study was published in the most prestigious journal in the field of respiratory illness. And again, this is just scientific proof for what I've seen over and over again. As I've talked about before, I don't really put much weight on studies. I tend to believe anecdotes more, and I find more meaning in anecdotes. But when the two go together, it's always nice. Definitely, this is this is less rare than other things that we're going to talk about. Here's a typical story. This is a story that I found on Reddit. I found this about 6 months ago, and I saved it, and I was in touch with the author of it because I just found it so powerful. Here's what he wrote. I have been diagnosed with asthma since the age of 6, and I'm currently 23 years old. I have suffered asthma attacks that required hospitalization when I was 18 to 20. It was brutal. If that wasn't enough, I was also diagnosed with exercise-induced anaphylaxis. Basically, it means I'm allergic to physical activity. That didn't stop me, though. I did learn my limits, and whenever I thought I could push them, I was immediately humbled by an attack. Last week, I decided to give the carnivore diet a go. It couldn't hurt, right? I started it because it just seemed cool, and who doesn't want to lose a few pounds, right? A few days in, I got the typical side effects. High energy, diarrhea, constipation. I never got constipation. I got diarrhea, but some people do get constipation. What I didn't expect, however, was when I went to the gym, I had more energy. The first day I went to the gym after starting carnivore. So I pushed my limits. My allergic reaction was about 50% better. The next day, I pushed my previous limit, and my allergy is 95% gone. That stayed that way for several weeks. I imagine it will get even better. Then he writes, this diet did for me what 17 years of medication and various best doctors in the country couldn't. I dreamed of being able to exercise normally and not have to take my inhaler every 10 seconds. And I finally achieved it. How beautiful is that? Fourth, somewhat rare benefit, although I'm hearing this one more and more. Better sleep. Many people with sleep apnea say that it cleared up within a few nights with carnivore. Now, I personally never had sleep apnea, and I've never been a good sleeper. But I find now that I don't get the tired headaches I used to get. If I didn't get much sleep, let's say 6 hours or less, I would get headaches throughout the day. I don't get those anymore, even if I don't sleep that well. And it's much easier for me to fall back asleep now when I wake up in the middle of the night. It used to be that if I woke up, let's say 3 o'clock or later, I was resigned, I wasn't going to fall back asleep. Now I can easily fall back asleep. I don't think it's as much physical as it is mental. My brain is just calmer on carnivore. It's less inflamed. It's less reactive. Fifth rare benefit. And this might not be a benefit for some people, but it's true. More dreaming and vivid dreaming. I got this at the very beginning when I started the carnivore diet. It hasn't happened as much lately, but it happens when I eat a lot of eggs. It's really interesting. I think it could be the choline in eggs. There's also a lot of choline in beef and also vitamin B6. So when we eat a lot of eggs, our just minds, it triggers certain parts of our brain that lead us to dream more. Now, it might be something else, but the choline seems to have a tremendous impact, and choline is in meat and in egg yolks. Dante Ferrigno talks a lot about this, and he had it at the beginning of the carnivore diet as well. He hasn't talked about it much lately. I'm not sure what that is. I think it's probably more than just the nutrients and the minerals. It could be just the way our brains are working more efficiently now. And the reason we dream, this is a tremendous debate among psychologists, but dreaming helps us sleep. It's not just wish fulfillment and all the other psychological interpretations of dreams, but in many ways it helps us sleep. And when we're sleeping better and we're calmer, perhaps our brains have room to dream. Are there any other benefits that you've noticed that I haven't mentioned? I know there are a lot more, and I'll mention more in the future. But perhaps leave a comment and tell me some unexpected benefit that you have had on the carnivore diet.